Among the most popular features in Simple and Out are our ability to automatically update your status without you having to do anything other than just carry around your phone. To do this, we have a couple of different technologies you can use depending on whatever's the best fit for you and your organization. We have Geofences, which allow you to map out a physical location on a map and be able to automatically update your status based on entering and leaving on your phone's location using things your phone does every day. Another option we have is Networks, which only works for our Android customers, but it allows people with an Android application to be able to automatically update their status in or out based on when they connect to your office's Wi-Fi network. And that works out really well. Today we're going to talk about beacons, which are a way in which to automatically update your status based on whether your phone, equipped with our Simple and Out app, can see the Bluetooth signal emitted by a little piece of hardware called a beacon. As you can see on the screen right now, it's nothing really more than a USB plug with a little nub on the end. And so this broadcasts a Bluetooth signal. Think of it like a wireless keyboard. And you can see that signal from anywhere from 10 to 20 meters away, depending on things like wireless interference and walls, which degrade Bluetooth signal. When your phone sees this Bluetooth signal, it can automatically check you in. And when it loses sight of the Bluetooth signal, it can automatically check you out. Now, these are a lot smaller than Networks, a lot smaller than Geofences. So they work in some very small, tight places. You can also order more than one beacon and stitch them together to cover a larger area. Another thing that beacons are great for is if you're on the go. Some people put these in things that are in motion or take them with to set up portable beacons to be able to check people in and out of conference centers or maybe temporary office space or even things like automobiles. So your actual use cases may vary. But today we're going to talk about how to set this up and how to automatically update your status on your phone using a beacon. So we're going to start by creating a software beacon, creating a beacon that we can use in order to check in and out of Simple and Out. We're going to do that by clicking Settings here in the upper right. Then once we're on Settings, we're going to go ahead and we're going to click on Beacons down the left-hand side. As you can see, I've already got a bunch of beacons, but let's go ahead and let's create a brand new beacon for Simple and Out. Now, the first thing you'll notice right off the top is that we have a big warning at the top that says you will need hardware. Remember, we're just giving this beacon a name and some settings, but you're still going to need a piece of hardware to emit this Bluetooth signal. Beacon hardware you can find from someplace else. Many people sell it as long as it subscribes to the iBeacon standard and will take what's called a UUID, which is a special identifier you can see faded out down here. Then you can program one yourself. Also, if you have a tablet, an iPad, or a compatible Android tablet, you can download one of our tablet applications, either Front Desk or Time Clock. And in the settings for that application, you can have it make that tablet emit a Bluetooth beacon signal. And if that tablet's on all the time while it's in the foreground, it will act like a beacon for you, which gives you a great way to either test this out or take a Front Desk or Time Clock device you already have on at all times and turn it into a beacon as well. So there's a lot of different options there. For starters, what we're going to have to do is give this beacon a name. So I'm just going to call this Bisou's house, and we'll go ahead and create this beacon. And that's it. That's all we actually have to do to have a software beacon ready to program into some hardware. You can go ahead and add or change more advanced settings if you wish by editing it after the fact. So not only do you have the name and the UUID, which of course you can copy off if you're programming your own beacon, but then we also have these settings for entry and settings for exit. So by default, when you enter a beacon range, when you enter within this Bluetooth signal, then a person who's monitoring this beacon will automatically have their status changed to in with a comment of in at Bisou's house. And when they leave, they'll automatically be changed to out with a comment of left Bisou's house. Now you can change these default comments. You can even change the status so that instead of them checking in when they enter an area, they actually check out or vice versa. And you can also even go as far as to turn it off. So if you don't want anything to happen when a user walks into a beacon area, only when they leave the periphery, or if you want to have things where they only check in when they enter, but they never do anything when they've left, these are all options that you have if you wish to set your beacons up that way. For now, I'm just going to set with the defaults because that makes the most sense for us. Right here we have a phone, and if I go ahead, I'm in the settings on the iPhone app. In the settings, I can tap automatic status updates. And then once I'm in automatic status updates, I can tap on beacons. And here you'll see a list of all the beacons that I have. Now, if these screens weren't available to you, it's because you'll have to turn these things on. When you turn them on, the phone will ask you for permissions, the permissions that we need in order to be able to make this software work behind the scenes. You'll want to always accept to allow us to do these things in the background. That way you don't have to have your phone on staring at it in order to check in and out of the beacons when you're walking to and fro. So now that we're in the beacons, we're going to go to our brand new beacon screen in here. And then we're going to click the enable button to turn this beacon on. And that's all it is. Now this beacon is on. And we also have underneath here a description that tells you exactly what will happen. So your status will be updated after entering this region to in at Bisou's house. And your status will be updated after exiting this region to left Bisou's house. So there's no ambiguity about what's about to happen. And then we even have a search for beacon link here, which you can tap on in order to see if you're able to see the beacon right now. So if I tap this link right now, it'll look for the beacon. And in my case, I'm in this place. I have it plugged in. You can see that I'm within range of that beacon currently. So that's as easy as it is to turn on your beacon and start updating your status. So now let's go ahead and take a look at what it will look like to make an iPad running, let's say, front desk, behave like a beacon. So the first thing you'll need to do after you've created your own beacon, and you can create one in this screen if you don't already have one, I suppose, but in our case we do, you tap the gear icon in the very upper right-hand portion of the screen, right here. And when you tap that icon, it'll ask you for a username and password of an administrator in order to change the settings in front desk. Once you've gone through that, you'll see the settings screen, and one of the options is beacons. So if I tap beacons, I'll be able to see all the beacons that I've created, of course, and I'll be able to turn one of these beacons on for broadcast. In this case, I'll turn on Bisou's house. And once I turn that on, this iPad is now acting as a beacon as long as this application stays running in the foreground and the screen stays on. So, of course, if you're using front desk or time clock in your office, most likely you already have it set to keep the screen on at all times. So as long as that's the case, this is behaving like a beacon. It's a great way to test beacons out before you actually commit to purchasing hardware.